just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. And here are indeed some pictures you sent to our Eyewitness portal. We begin with this one from the 3rd Mainland Bridge in Lagos, showing a motorist who was arrested for eating while driving. Now, this act is dangerous not just for him, but for other road users. Next is this photo, still from Lagos, showing a canal filled with garbage. Our Eyewitness reporter says this canal connects Surulere to Idiaraba. He is calling on the appropriate agencies of government to clear the canal of rubbish to aid water flow. And finally, it's this picture from Port Harcourt, the River State capital, showing a queue of vehicles. Our reporter says that the queue is this long because there are no private stations selling fuel, which he says goes for as much as 300 naira at the black market. He wants the Department of Petroleum Resources, the DPR, to look into the case, and quickly too. Well, thank you for sending these pictures, and please note that you too can report events as they happen around you. We have a developing story now. At least 28 people have been killed following an explosion which hit Yola, the Adamawa state capital, northeast Nigeria, just this evening. According to our correspondent in Yola, the blast was set off by a suicide bomber at the Jambuchu bypass and the Jimita area of the city at about 8 p.m. Many of the injured are said to have been rushed to the hospital in Yola, where they are being treated. The scene of this evening's attack is close to the main vegetable market in Yola, and the suicide bomber is said to have targeted traders as they were closing for the day. No group has claimed responsibility for the incident, but members of the Boko Haram terrorist group have carried out such deadly attacks on the town a number of times now, the last being in October. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has formally launched the Anchor Borrowers Program ABP for rice farmers in Kogi State. The program is designed to assist small-scale farmers to increase production and supply of feedstocks to agro-processors. The program is an initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, aimed at creating an ecosystem to link out growers, that's the smallholder farmers, to local processors, and also to increase banks' financing to the agricultural sector, as well as enhance capacity utilization of agricultural firms involved in production of identified commodities and the productivity and income of farmers. The policy document of the program also indicates that the Anchor Borrowers Program will build capacity of banks and agricultural lending to farmers and entrepreneurs in the value chain and reduce commodity importation. It is also expected to reduce the level of poverty among smallholder farmers and create jobs while assisting rural smallholder farmers to grow from subsistence to commercial production levels.
Economic diversification is no longer an option for us as a nation. It is the only way to reclaim economic momentum and drive to prosperity. One way to do this is to go back to the land and develop our agricultural production. That is why I have high hopes about the prospects of the CBN's Anchor Borrowers Program and its potentials to create millions of jobs and lift thousands of smallholder farmers out of poverty. The federal government very much favors this program because it squarely aligns with our aspiration to achieve food security for Nigeria.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. Attention seems to be shifting to Kogi State as the governorship elections holds on Saturday. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase, who has been meeting with squadron commanders in the police mobile force units across the country, explains that strategic steps are being taken by the police to ensure that the forthcoming elections in Kogi is hit-free. He told journalists today in Lokoja that all operations issues in respect to the elections have been sorted. He said he is counting on his men, their strengths, commitment and loyalty for a successful exercise.
Suffice it to say that I am satisfied with the assurances given by the leaders of these agencies that they will abide by these tenets. The safety and security of law-abiding citizens who come out to vote is a responsibility we take very seriously in INEC, not just on the eve of elections. We have already achieved a lot through the work of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security at national, state, and local government levels.
I want to also assure you that apart from the police, we are also going to draw on the manpower profile of the service commanders that are here, the Federal Road Safety, the DSS, immigration, customs, prisons, the military. We are still going to draw on their assets. While the military is not permitted to be physically present in election duties, nothing prevents them for helping us to shut down or lock down some areas where we think, will pose very serious crisis. Like our national assets, that nothing prevents the military from assisting us to do that.
And joining me now to discuss the governorship elections in Kogi State is the Executive Director of Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Mr. Clement Nwankwo. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the news at 10. Now, this would be the first, indeed, election under the new INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu. What are the key things you suppose will he deliver on?
Well, it would be, yes, you're right, the first election under the partially constituted INEC and, of course, the new chairman. And I think that all eyes are on Kogi with respect to the conduct of election officials, the delivery of materials, the implementation of use of the card readers and the permanent voters card. Of course, the conduct, indeed, of all of the election officials. The logistics regarding the elections are key in terms of when polling opens, how the votes are calculated and how they are counted, and how officers on election day actually carry out the responsibilities that they're entrusted with.
You just made mention of partially constituted INEC. Could you explain further what you mean by that?
Well, the Electoral Commission should have 12 members and a chairman. That would be 13. We do have at this time less than that, perhaps half of that. And I think it's of course, legally possible that that should be the case. But of course, this country needs a fully constituted Electoral Commission. This, of course, has really no serious impact on the Kogi election. And our hope is that the commission, which as is constituted, sees this as a litmus test, knowing that a lot of observers would be on ground, national and international, and knowing as well that the responsibilities that lies ahead for it in the near and far future are going to be gauged by the way that it conducts this election. Certainly, we have received a lot of assurances from INEC on its preparations. We have had meetings and consultations with the resident electoral commissioner, as well with the police and security service on the preparations for the elections. We are assured by the assurances that we have received that the elections would go well. But of course, we would have to measure those assurances by what actually happens on the ground.
Now, you were the head of the Situation Room during the 2015 general elections, and of course you were privy to see some of those complaints that emanated from that election, talking about ballot box snatching, violence, pockets of violence here and there, just spread across the country, cases of snatching of ballot boxes, rigging the elections, as a matter of fact. How can all this be prevented from happening in the forthcoming elections, do you think?
Well, we hope that the security services are ready. We have seen the assurances made by the Inspector General of Police. We have spoken and met with the State Commissioner of Police, Emmanuel Ojukwu. All of the assurances we have received indicates that the security services would be ready. Of course, the police is the lead agency on security in the state, but listening to the Inspector General of Police, he has the support of the Army and other arms of security services. Kogi is especially important. There's been lots of violence in recent weeks and months. It is a flashpoint state for us in terms of our assessment of security. The two states who, in fact, which have a gap of 2 weeks for the conduct of governorship elections are states of serious concern in terms of security assessment. And we do hope that the security services are fully aware of this. We have received assurances, like I've said. We are confident that those assurances mean that the security services are fully prepared to deal with the challenges that are posed by the forthcoming elections. But we do hope also that the security services are conscious of the need not to over-police in order that people can come out and vote freely and fairly.
Mr. Clement Nwankwo, you are, of course, the Executive Director of Policy and Legal Advocacy Center. We thank you so much indeed for your time and your thoughts on the News at 10.
Thank you.
When the News at 10 returns, Conference of Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WinBiz, reaches final day. Skills and character highlighted as success factors for women in business. That's in a moment. Do join us again.